Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to say, and double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the whole elect. It's a younger brother here, Shema Shaman, and today, the wives of the brother are calling me in for the idea. But we're going to talk about how America spends more on the military than it does on its schooling system. Alright, so before we get into that, and I bring out some articles going into that, we have to understand that America was built off of war. Alright? And understand that, we need to go look into the scriptures. And I've talked about this before many times already, but we're just going to talk about it again. How America got up and got its power. Alright, it's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee from far, from the end of the earth. And this is the breakdown. This first happened with the Romans and then with the Americans. Alright? So yeah, west coast of Africa, when we were dragged, we were dragged from the west coast of Africa all the way, where? To the American colonies. I've heard other brothers bring this out, to bring out how, when the Spaniards came down to take down the Northern Kingdom, Island Hispaniola, they took down the Ephraimites, so on and so forth. Alright, it also applies to them as well. And I've seen a brother bring it out that way, Give me a second. Oopsie daisy. I've heard a brother bring it out that way. Well, not really bring it out, but show a video and then have the precept there. I think it was GMS Remnant Saved 144. I don't want to butcher his name. I keep forgetting that. Salakia, brother. But yeah, so moving on. As swift as the eagle flieth, the symbol of America and the Roman Empire is the eagle. Alright? A nation whose tongue that should not understand. The Israelites didn't understand Latin or English. Exactly. Alright, so the Lord brought these Edomites against us, man. These American Edomites, various Edomite nations, European Edomites, Spaniards, so on and so forth, to come take our people down, man. Edomites in general, man. And of course other nations too. Alright, but this scripture right here is talking about Edom. And that's what they did to us. Alright? I have here, a little term, manifest destiny, which you should already know what that is, but I'll just pull it out anyway for edification's sake. We're going to talk more about it. We'll play more over time. Manifest destiny was a widely held cultural belief in the 19th century United States that American settlers were to expand across North America. Exactly. That's these Edomites' time to rule. So it's going to play into more things as we talk over time. Alright, we'll bring out a few more. Alright, let's get you Jeremiah 50. Okay, click the wrong button. Jeremiah 50. Give me a second, brothers. Jeremiah 50 and verse 33. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, Lord of armies, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were pressed together, and all that held them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. Why does it say the children of Israel and the children of Judah? Look into the split history. The children of Israel represents the northern kingdom. The children of Judah represents the southern kingdom. Alright, let me move up a little bit closer because you probably can't hear me from back there. Alright, so and where were the children of Judah and the children of Israel oppressed together? Alright, here in America. Alright, and yes, these Edomites do refuse to let us go. They don't give us any peace. They don't give us any sort of comfort. You say, oh, but we were let go from slavery. Well, we're still in slavery. You still have to go to work. You still have a job. Shit, I mean, so on and so forth, man. How many, whatever bullshit they put out there, and I'm gonna try to word this the right way because I have to put this to YouTube first because YouTube, I think, what do you call it, automatically encodes your videos. So I don't want to do the encoding myself. That'll take fucking forever. I'm gonna put it to YouTube, and then I'm gonna put it from YouTube to my Odyssey, you know, because YouTube just makes it so much easier. But what do you see in the news, right? All this bullshit. We're for the last couple years, we're at the fucking mercy of these devils, man. You know, so on and so forth. All right, so that's gonna play into another precept that I bring out. Um, that's weird. How come this doesn't have Wisdom of Solomon? Is there Wisdom of Solomon on here? There we go. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face, as such as have afflicted him. Alright? The righteous man. Who are the righteous men? Alright, us, man. The Israelites. The hopeful elect. You know, Lord willing, I'm of that number. Alright? And I had a precept, I was doing some digging. How to prove that we are the righteous. Alright, Lord willing, I'm of that number. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 24. And the Lord commanded us to do all these statutes, to fear the Lord our power, for our good always, that he might preserve us alive, that it is at this day. You know, as we know, it's a fearful thing to fall into the hands of living power, pertaining to was the Hebrews 10 and 31, I think it is. Let me see, 10 and 31. I'm just looking at it for my sake. There we go, 10 and 31, perfect. All right, so you have to fear the Lord, man. Verse 25, and it shall be our righteousness if we observe to do all these commandments before the Lord our power, as he hath commanded us. All right, as we know today, we're supposed to keep the commandments to the best of our ability. You know, we're under grace, pertaining to Acts 15 and Acts 5, verse 30. Acts chapter 5, verse 30, 31-ish goes into that as well, and many others. You know, we're under a grace period. Right, it's supposed to be a time for us to get right. You know, and as the scriptures say, just because are we supposed to sin because you're under grace? God forbid. And I believe that's in the book of Romans. And I'm not going to go into all that because that's a different topic for a different time. I just want to give you the basics of this and then move on and go do something else. Give you another video, Lord willing. All right, so we have that understanding. Okay, with that, we're the righteous. All right. These commandments were given to the children of Israel, your so-called Negro, Hispanic, and Native American. All right, these speckled birds, man. All right, you Israelite foreigners scattered abroad that may look like the other nations, but your seed line through your fathers go back to the children of Israel. All right, just wanted to bring that out. Then said the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him. All right, and how do we stand in great boldness before the face of such as afflicted him? All right, those such that have afflicted him is talking about what? Edom, man, Esau. All right, when we're on those highways and byways, do we not stand in front of Esau? We stand in great boldness when we're on the highways and byways, man. I'm a one-man dude out here, man. And when I'm on the highways and byways, I carry that sign out. I set the sign down. People may look. People may smile. I get a lot of that. People laugh. Girls will look and say, hee hee. Like. And it's going to explain more. All right? But, we do that, man. That's what we do when we come on the highways and byways. We stand boldly, man. There's many scriptures that go into that, but once again, I just want to explain this. Esau has afflicted us, all right? And it made no such account of his labors. I made no account of his labors, so this is a spiritual thing, all right? Talking about spiritual aspect first, all right? They didn't make any account of our labors because, when they see us in the highways and byways, they think what we're doing is vain. They think what we're doing is stupid, all right? But on a physical level, we tribes, man, we built this country, man. We were the slaves, that built this country up, all of it. They basically, when the slaves were brought into the colonies, they exploited the labor for free, man, for damn near free. Of course, certain slaves may have gotten a little bit of money here and there, but they basically made 100% fucking profit, man. And they don't make no account of that. Also, you got Jakes that built shit in this society, and they don't give him any credit either, man. Esau takes the credit. All right, so that's how they make no account of our labor. So that's part of how this country, had to rise, man. Through war, through our blood, through the war against Israel, this country was able to rise. And why were they able to do that? We're going back to Deuteronomy 28 because of the curses. All right, so um, yeah, moving on to more about war, because yes, they made war against um, so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native Americans. But Esau, these Americans in this, these Americans here now, man, revived over an empire, so on and so forth. They were also able to rise through taking out and having wars against their own brethren, man, through the blood of their own brothers, man. All right, and we're gonna go get you that as is written inside the scriptures. Daniel chapter 7 verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were iron, his nails of brass, which devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with his feet. Right, the fourth beast is talking about started as the ancient Roman Empire, now reincarnated as NATO and the EU. All right, and that's what that fourth beast represents, man. Very powerful, man. You know. Verse 20. I'll just give you the basics. The 10 horns that are in his head, which revived as NATO and the EU, so on and so forth. The other that came up, and before whom 3 fell. All right, and the one that came up before 3 fell, even that horn that had eyes, and the mother spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. So, the one that came up, that little horn, all right, with that stout look, we gotta see what those 3 fell. The 3 fell represents the French, the English, and the Spanish. All right, you have the Revolutionary War, the French and Indian War, and the Spanish American War, and that's how America was able to increase its influence, tying all the way back to that manifest destiny, and with that Spanish American War, we'll just look that up for edification's sake. Spanish American War results. Let's see here. It pretty much ended Spanish colonial rule. There we go. So this is causes and effects of the Spanish-American War. Going to the points. The war ended Spanish colonial rule in the Americas. Spain subsequently focused its focus inward. Subsequently turned its focus inward and experienced a cultural renaissance and 2 decades of significant progress in agriculture, industry, transportation, and other areas. All right. So the point was in the beginning. The war ended colonial rule in the Americas and gave America more power and influence. All right. And the look that was more stout than his fellows. American Edomites think that they're better than other Edomites. Exactly. So that's just the most basic breakdown. You can look into it more on your own, but I just want to give you the points. All right. So through the wars and bloodshed of their brethren, this country was able to rise up. Also got another one for you here. Revelation chapter 6, verse 3. When he opened the second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And it went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace on the earth, and that they should kill one another, and it was given unto him a great sword. Alright, so that horse that was red is Esau, the so-called white man. The horse represents power. The red represents Adawam, which means red, Edom, Don't be confused. The brothers here, they say Adam, but this isn't quite correct. Blue letter actually goes off. Adam, Adama, right, which means ground. Adam comes from Adama, alright. Adawam is Edom. That means red, alright. But Adam has nothing to do with Edom, okay. Adam comes from Adama, ground, alright. And you just prove it by going to Genesis 2nd chapter, look at the word ground. Adama, Adam, it's in the word, man. Alright? The blue letter, they did that shit on purpose, man. It's fucking devils, man. Devil means deceiver. Okay, so don't get confused by that. Alright, and Esau, Ishashua, the wa at the end makes it wasted away is he. So, you should know that now. Take peace from the earth. It is evident from history that the so-called white man, the Edomites, are the one who have taken peace from the earth, and the great sword goes into Esau's blessing. Alright, so the Lord gave these devils, man. Not just American Edomites, but these other Edomites, they got the world, man. You got your elite banking families, these Amalekites, these fucking damn devils, man. various nations of Edom at the top level, these banking families, man, and that run everything, you know. And they have us in subjection. So the Lord set them up to be able to rule, you know, and take peace from the earth, man. So that all goes into, you know, how America was built off of war, man. You know, starting with the Renaissance, they were able to get their rulership back, and they just been, you know, going around and fucking killing shit. All right, so we're done with that, and we're gonna get back, and now get into the main points of this lesson, so I can give you the points, and then I'm gonna go away. TurboTax, Intuit.com, where tax dollars are spent. Tax dollars are collected by the federal government and apportioned by Congress in the federal budget to fund various government programs. When the budget exceeds tax revenue, the federal government typically borrows money, which you should already be thinking about Habakkuk chapter 2, which we're going to get to. A large part of the budget goes towards the same governmental programs every year, making the approximate percentage of the budget used in those programs easy to predict. Alright, so yeah. So whenever whenever the budget exceeds the tax revenue that they get, they go out and they borrow the money, you know. And we're gonna get a precept that goes into that. You know, we're just gonna go straight into it. You know, because this is kind of the point. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 4. Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not right in him, but the just shall live by his faith. The first half of this verse is in reference to the Edomites, but the second half is referring to the hopeful elect of Israel. Only the Lord's servants can have faith. Alright, so let's check out some different translations. They basically say how Esau he's puffed up, man. He has a lot of pride. And there's many other ones that go into it. See, the enemy is puffed up. His desires are not upright. Alright? And Esau is our enemy. You know, he's puffed up by his pride, man. That's why he wants to put out this microchip. Oh, fuck me. Well, he wants to put out this bullshit. You know, he wants to do all of his agendas and his nonsense. Alright, because of his pride, man. You know, read Obadiah and oh man, so many you know, precepts go into Esau's pride. Let me just check it out. If the one I was thinking of is right here. Oh yeah, there we go. You can go read it. Just read Obadiah. So I just looked at it for like 1 second. I was like, yep, that's exactly what I was talking about. Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yeah, because he also transgressed by wine. He spreads his false, you know, his philosophies, his bullshit, and which wine represents philosophies here, man. You know, you gotta look at Isaiah 29:9 also. You know, they stumble not with strong drink. You know, it's going into philosophies until these people stumble. You know, he is a proud man, which is proved in the 4th verse, and also Obadiah and many others. Neither keepeth at home. You know, because Esau has you know, military bases abroad. He's always involved in other people's problems, and other geopolitics, and other bullshit, man. You know, more largest his desire is hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied. Alright, and when it says hell, it means the grave. Alright, is the grave ever full? Is there never not enough graves for people? Alright, is death ever satisfied? No, people die every day. You know, as I'm talking to you right now, someone just died. You know, believe it or not. Okay, and that's the same way with Esau, man. He's just never satisfied. But he gathered unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people. Alright, and that goes to America's a melting pot. He has all these different nations and people all swirling around in here, man. You know, verse 6, shall not all these take up a parable against him, these other nations, and a taunting proverb against them, and say, woe to him, destruction to him, that increaseth that which is not his. Alright, and that's what Esau does, man. Esau goes against these other nations, or makes allyships with these other nations. For what? For the natural resources. Why? And goes into the other nations too. You know, into military shit. For what? You know, why is he there? To spread democracy? To take down terrorism? No, man, he wants the fucking resources. Why'd he go into Iraq? Why'd he go into Afghanistan? He wants those resources. He wants that oil, man. He wants all that shit. He makes deals with your countries and make allyship with you. He becomes one of your biggest investors, and you're basically your society's, your country's continual function is based on your dealing with the U.S. And of course you're gonna have to do whatever they tell you to. If America pushes something, you're gonna do it. And that's why these other nations, man, hey, they're gonna come against America, man. They're gonna burn it and hate this whore, man. America's allies, NATO and the EU, they're gonna shoot missiles here, man. All right, so on and so forth, man. Moving on. Should not all these take a proverb against them and a taught the proverb against them and say, woe to him that increases that which is not his. How long? And Habakkuk is asking this. How long? How long are we going to be stuck in this era where Esau is going to be taking that which is not his? Which we're still in that era right now, but we're coming to the end of it. Okay? And to him that ladeth himself with the clay. The word for clay is actually a mistranslation, and it means debt, or ibadiyat. Alright, so that word ibadiyat is heavy debts. Okay? And I got here from a video from Elder Apostle Gabar. Two debts. Esau creates debts to enslave others. How he mentioned the scripture, the borrower is servant to the lender. He creates debt, and we're basically debt servants to him. We owe him shit. You have to pay taxes and pay this and pay that. Then he gives us money. We give it back to him. We have fiat currency. It all goes into our money system. But it's also wickedness is also the debt. Because you read about how Esau's iniquity has gone to the heavens, man. You read it in the book of Revelations, which we're not gonna really, go too far into that. All right, so there's a spiritual aspect to it too. So we proved that. There's a little bit on that article, and then we're gonna get to the next one. And this is all about. I got this article. It's Statista.com. So Statista, and then I got a third article. So really two more articles after this one, and I'll get out of here and stop talking. Defense. Approximately 20% of the federal budget is spent on defense and security. Most of that 20% is for the Department of Defense, or DoD, which covers the cost of military operations, troop training, equipment, and weapons research. This is where your textiles is going to. Defense and security spending also includes funding for the Department of Homeland Security and the Transportation Security Administration, or the TSA, as we all know. Okay, so America spends a lot of money on its military. Let's get a few more, right? Because all this spending makes America, so-called top military, man. All right, but it ain't gonna be that way for long, because American rulership, American power structure, it's over, man. Martial law's on the way. And so once Yahweh Shai comes back, they ain't gonna be the top military no more. All right, ain't no more, man. It's gonna be Yahweh Shai's military, man. That's gonna be the highest military, man. All right. All right. Let's move on. Statista.com. U.S. military spending from 2000 to 2020. All right, so U.S. military spending from 2000 to 2020. In 2020, the United States spent about $766.58 billion U.S. dollars on its military. This figure is a decrease from 2010, when U.S. military spending amounted to $865.27 billion when adjusted to 2019 dollars. All right, so it was much more spending in 2010. All right, it seems like they adjusted it for inflation to get that figure. All right, but why was the 2010s such high military DoD spending? All right, we gotta go back. Department of Defense spending. You gotta go back into a little bit of history, just real quick. Where was it? Where the hell did I have that article? All right, foreign policy. This is Wikipedia.org. Foreign policy of the Barack Obama administration. Obama inherited the Iraq War, the Afghanistan War, and various aspects of the War on Terror, all of which began during the Bush administration. So yeah, he had to go handle all these things, War on Terror, which that's all that whole bullshit was, man. It was just an excuse to increase the spending. He's presided over the gradual drawdown of U.S. soldiers in Iraq, culminating in the near total withdrawal of U.S. soldiers from Iraq in December 2011, which once again they were there for oil and other resources. But there's deeper things, but I'm not gonna go into that. You know, I was only 10 years old when this was going down, just about 10 or 9. So I don't really understand it. I gotta look more into it. After increasing the U.S. military presence in Afghanistan during his first term, Obama withdrew all but about approximately 8,400 soldiers from Afghanistan in his second term. In 2011, Obama presided over a mission that led to the death of Osama bin Laden, the organizer of the September 11 attacks, which, as we know, is a crock of shit. Okay? That shit was an inside job. Okay? They planned that shit out. They did it. Alright? You know, and so on and so forth. There's many films on it. I gotta rewatch it, but I just know that thing 100% is an inside gig. Okay? They planned that shit out. You know? There's films on that. You know? Look up GMS Fact. I think GMS FAQ got a video on that. I think it was on this just regular FAQ, not the 2. This is regular first channel. You know, and go check that out, man. That's a beautiful brother too. That's the brother, very kind, man. Dope brother, man. Same brother created the King James, man. So hey, that brother dope, man. So moving on. I'll stop talking about that brother. The high cost of U.S. spending. I just love his site, man. I love that site. The site is like beautiful, man. It helps me so much because, like, you know, like, yeah, you can have it down on paper, and I do still write down breakdowns, but like to have it on the phone and get some breakdowns on the phone, it's so quick and easy, man. I like it a lot, man. You know, because you lose pages, papers fall out, or they get crumpled, you spill, you know, water on it or some shit. You know, it's just so helpful. Which you could also not deal with that with paper anyway, because, you know, I do have paper breakdowns still, but I just have a plastic covering over it. I just want to make this point real quick, right? You have a plastic covering over it. It's waterproof, so now water gets on your papers, you got that plastic covering, no damage to your work, man. It's beautiful. You know, or you can also get a Google Doc and type in all your breakdowns on a Google Doc, and now when you print that out, you know, you're not at the whim of, you know, wet. If it gets wet, if it gets ripped or broken or whatever, whatever the hell, not broken but ripped or whatever the fuck, you go out and print another one. You know, you go to the library, you know, pay like 5 cents, print it out, and get another paper. You know, so I just want to bring that out real quick. The high cost of U.S. spending. The United States is well known for spending more in its military than any other country. In 2021, it's estimated that per capita defense spending amounted to $2,186 US. While this figure is extremely high, many Americans may find it worthwhile, as a majority believe the United States as the #1 military power in the world. So they spend a lot of money, you know, on their military. You know, I don't really know all these terms, per capita, and what does it mean by $2,186 US. I'm not really hip to the whole economic thing. You know, I'm still learning and still getting better at it over time. But, you know, you brothers who know a bit better than me, you can go check it out. Statista.com, U.S. military spending from 2000 to 2020. You can explain it better than me. But as I get better, I will run over these things again. All right, so this should also make you think of a precept, you know. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 23. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Alright, how has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? So as we know, the great whore of Babylon, America, is Babylon the Great. You know, you can also prove it by looking at, what is it, Jeremiah 49 and 20, where it talks about the least of the flock, and then Jeremiah 50, and somewhere else, it says the same thing, right? Same exact wording, but in one scripture it says Edom, the other one, it says Babylon. It shows you that they're connected. Right? America is Babylon, alright? But just to get into the point here, the hammer of the whole earth, that goes back to, we read in Daniel's the 7th chapter, man. And how these devils, they would have that power to smash and break in pieces their enemies, to have a great military might. All right, America had that, man. And well, it still does have that. As it says here, is the #1 military in the world. At least until Yahweh Shai returns, then that ain't gonna be the case. Which really, um, the Heavenly Father's military is still the top. Because the Heavenly Father's military far predates any of Esau's military. If you really want to, if you think about it like that, not to get too out there, but it predates it, and it's better and it's stronger. And it will take down the military pertaining to Revelation, the 12th chapter, and many other scriptures, man. So yeah, the hammer of the whole earth, man. America is the hammer of the whole earth, the strongest. They got to spend the most money on their military. They got all these weapons and shit. How has Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And that's gonna be America's lot, man. It's gonna be destroyed and become a desolation among the nations. All right, America is gonna be shot with missiles, man. All right, so that pertains to Revelation, the 18th chapter. So yeah, I'm pretty much done here. We're gonna just wrap up, talk a little bit about the school system here, and then I'll quit yapping and go do something else. Let's get you some business today. Give me a second here. Give me a moment. Okay, I'm doing pretty good on timing. Alright. This is census.gov. K-12 school spending up 4.7% in 2019 from previous years. So the nation spent $752.3 billion on its 48 million children in public schools in fiscal year 2019, a 4.7 increase from the previous year, and the most per pupil in more than a decade. So this is still less, and still less by billions, which I believe it was about $766 billion about the U.S. spends on military. All right, but the U.S. still spends more on its military than on its schooling system. Now America says they're all about peace and love, peace this, peace that. Okay, but at the same time, they spend more on the military and defense than they do on their schools, man. And actually, today I didn't really look into it, but this whole care package thing that the U.S. is sending to the cranes. Okay, the crane. All right, let's see here. America sends, let's see here. Okay, so I'm not gonna really look into this. This is from the Interceptor Voices. U.S. and NATO's unprecedented weapons transfers to Ukraine could prolong the war. Western nations must ask themselves whether the current course of action is more or less likely to help end the horrifying violence being imposed on the Ukrainian civilian population, which they're also killing each other anyway. When you look into like the situation down there, like if you're outside past the curfew, they upright shoot you, man. I'm talking about in the cranes. World's largest arms dealer, the United States, is leading an effort among NATO nations to dramatically increase the flow of weapons to the besieged government in Kiev. While the Biden administration has resisted calls for a no-fly zone over Ukraine, a move which could result in an overt hot war between major nuclear powers, the weapons transfer represents a significant escalation of NATO involvement, of Western involvement. So I don't know if they sent it already, and I haven't really been. Okay, U.S. delivered. Here we go. Yes, they did. I knew they did. I could have sworn. Well, it could have been certain that I've seen it. So let's see here real quick. The secret to Ukraine's fierce resistance, Javelin anti-tank missiles, which there's more about this. Let's see here. What was it? 300, 200. Where was it? Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, in January, the U.S. delivered $200 million worth of weapons to the Ukraine, including 300 javelins. Washington approved additional military aid on Saturday following Russia's invasion. And this is an old article from, well, actually not old, but it's talking about history. March 2nd, 2022. I thought it would be older, but it is kind of old. It's like eight days ago. So yeah, you know. So I'm certain if they're sending things out and exporting, they're probably spending a bit more. Which for sure it's above the amount they're spending on schooling. And basically the school spending goes to spending for teachers and teachers benefits. Others is for construction and other shit, but the fact of the matter is America says it's all about peace. That's a bunch of bullshit. This article said it itself. It said the world's biggest arms dealer is America. And I didn't even really mean to go look into that. I just did it through the spirit. The body held by Shimi Awashai. So we know it's Tarak 12 and 10, man. We're not supposed to be trusting the enemy. You guys get the deal. Don't trust America. Don't do it. Don't take the microchip. And fuck, I said it again. Damn it. But I'm done. Shalom.